Hello, everyone, and welcome to another solo spooky story. My name is Rob. I'm your host. This is a bi-weekly series that we run where either myself or Suze will tell you a short kind of story or, encounter or kind of anything really that kind of piques our interest. That may not necessarily be a long enough story that would feature on the main episode of the podcast, but something that we still want to talk about all the same. So usually kind of run anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, depending on the story. And it's just kind of a fun time. Gives us a chance to just, talk one-on-one, just give you a nice little teaser for things that you can go out and look at yourself and, discover more. We kind of just give you a small bit, and then if you want to look into it more, you can go off with the knowledge that we give you. On today's episode, we are delving back into the world of the cryptids. And it's something that we've not really given too much attention to. And I think we should be spending a little bit more time maybe looking at some cryptid stories and the creatures that exist in the world, or maybe don't. The last one that we did was on the king otters, and that one seemed to go down quite well with people. So I'm bringing another similarly bizarre story today in the form of the Tatzelwurm. For anyone that doesn't know, the Tatzelwurm is a legendary creature from the folklore of the Alpine region in South Central Europe. It's often described as a lizard-like creature with the face of a cat and a serpent-like body, and it may have 4 short legs, 2 forelegs, or no legs at all. So basically any combination of regular legs or nothing. And on top of this, it's also said to have poisonous breath or blood, and it's to make a hissing or shrieking sound. So it kind of just covers a whole spectrum of just bizarrity. It's either a lizard with a cat face or a snake-like body. And then it may have 4 legs. It could have 2 legs, or it might not have any legs at all. And then just on top of that, it can fucking spit poison at you. And its blood is also poisonous. And if you get near it, it's going to hiss or shriek. Actually, similarly enough to the king otter there with the last one, that kind of shrieking sound. So maybe there's a tiny little bit of a connection there, who's to know. But yeah, the name Tatzelwurm, that's Tatzelwurm, means clawworm in German. And it also has several other regional names, Tatzelwurm being the most famous one, I think. But in other areas, it goes by the Bergstutz, the springworm, the Pratzelwurm, and in French, it's also called the Arassas. But from what I've seen, the Tatzelwurm name, it's not actually used in Switzerland. So in Switzerland, the creature is known as the Stollenwurm or the Stollwurm. And apparently that means tunnel worm or dragon of the mine tunnels, which is pretty metal actually, to be fair. And I guess it kind of makes sense with the description of it, that kind of serpent-like body, 2 legs, 4 legs, poisonous breath, blood. Pretty much kind of covers off what a dragon or like a wyvern would kind of look like. So actually kind of cool now that I think about it. So it's kind of makes sense that they kind of be called the dragon of the mine tunnels. So the earliest accounts of the Tatzelwurm date back to the 17th century when a Swiss naturalist, Johann Jacob Wagner, and a physician, Johann Jakob Scheuser, recorded testimonies and illustrations of cat-faced serpents encountered in the Swiss Alps. And for some reason, the creatures afterwards were dubbed as Scheuser's dragons by other commentators. So they basically captured the visage of the Tatzelwurm in these copper plates. Yeah, they basically made engravings of them in these copper plates. So they're pretty permanent. They look quite cool actually. And the picture that I found online is this man being very startled by what I can only describe as literally a dragon's body, so 4 legs, long neck, long tail, also completely jacked, and then its head is a cat, no wings. That's the best way to describe it. I'll put it up with the episode on Instagram so you can see it, but it's pretty metal looking. Very, very interesting as well. And then following on from the 17th century, there were additional sightings in the 18th and 19th centuries. So there was kind of stories and legends that came out there. It's kind of circulating around in that Alpine region, especially in Switzerland and Austria. And then there was also obviously quite a few in Germany, and then apparently in Italy as well. Some of the stories involved eyewitnesses who claimed to have seen, fought, or apparently even killed the creature. There was a farmer in 1779. His name is Hans Fuchs, which is a fantastic name. He allegedly reported seeing 2 Tatzelwurms with a cat-like head, 2 clawed front legs, and a winding serpent-like body. He said that they were between 5 and 7 feet in length, and that they sprouted green blood when attacked. And he ran home to tell his family, but died of a heart attack shortly afterwards, which is not great for the track record for the Tatzelwurm. Apparently as well, the Tatzelwurm also appeared in some like hunting manuals and then scientific publications of the time, and then local art and culture. So it really does seem to be that it was kind of almost like accepted lore for the region that this creature existed, was out there, was just getting up to all sorts of shenanigans. And obviously, unfortunately, Hans Fuchs, while not attacked by the creature, did unfortunately die of a heart attack. So, maybe we'll give that kill to the Tatzelwurms. And another sighting then that I saw was in 1841. An anonymous artist drew a sketch of a Tatzelwurm that he claimed to have seen near the Simplon Pass in Switzerland. He said that the creature had a cat-like face again, 4 short legs and a long tail. But this time, he said it could leap 9 feet into the air. So that's quite something. That is quite the feat there. So for anyone that's kind of keeping track of this, allegedly the Tatzelwurm can, have 2 legs, 4 legs, no legs, a winding serpent-like body. It can spit poison. Its blood is poison. It's got the head of a cat. It screeches. And now on top of all of this, it can also leap 9 feet into the air, which is pretty metal actually. So it kind of, it's got some serious defense tactics. Some may say it's just a cat, but who are we to decide? Then moving into the 20th and 21st centuries, we did kind of see, it appears anyway, according to what I've seen online, that the interest in the Tatzelwurm continued, with some people claiming to have photographed, captured, or examined the creature, or some people claim to have found its remains, but I'm not sure about that. I can't really see anything. And one of the more famous sightings of this, from what I could see doing the bit of research that I did, was in 1954, a Swiss photographer named Balkan claimed to have taken a photo of the Tatzelwurm near Meiringen in Switzerland. He said that the creature, again, had a cat-like head, 2 forelegs, and a long body, so only 2 legs this time. And he also said that it had made some sort of strange whistling sound as it approached him, and he basically noped out of there pretty much as soon as he could. Well, that's what he says anyway. Not before getting a picture though. Unfortunately, under some scrutiny and some examination, the picture, when kind of looked at closely, was allegedly exposed to be a total hoax. And the dude was basically found out pretty much immediately that he'd created some elaborate hoax to I don't know, maybe garner interest in the Tatzelwurm, get more people to kind of know about it. I'm really not sure what the story was there. But interesting all the same. One of the more famous encounters that I've seen regarding the Tatzelwurm was actually from Switzerland again. And this was a man called Samuel Studer. And he calls it the Stollenwurm because he's from Switzerland. And according to Studer, he believed that they would appear after very humid hot weather, or when the weather was undergoing some sort of volatile change. That was his theory anyway. And he says that the people considered them to be poisonous and harmful, and that they resembled short, stubby serpents with a round head similar to a cat and clawed feet. And he seems to be basically the main source of knowledge on the Stollenwurm, Tatzelwurm, whichever version you want to call it. And his contribution to the lore actually occurred in a short article on insects. And in this article, the Tatzelwurm appeared inserted in the travel log as part of it, basically. And this was published in 1814. And in his article, he includes these eyewitness accounts that he supposedly collected from people. He says that in 1811, Tatzelwurm with a forked tongue and serpent-like rather than cat-like head and 2 stubby feet was reported by a schoolmaster named Heinrich. And he claimed to have seen it in the Gutenten Tal in Canton Bern in Switzerland. He described it as measuring 1 klafter in length, which I have absolutely no idea what that is, and with a body about the thickness of a man's leg. And then a few years later, another man, Hans Kerley from another area, claimed to have killed a small Tatzelwurm. But he says that it was carrying 10 of its children with it. I don't know what happened to the children, but the Tatzelwurm was killed anyway. And this all kind of led to this guy Samuel Studer, the kind of authority on it. He offered a bounty to anyone who could supply him with the remains of an authentic Tatzelwurm, indicating basically the degree of his conviction that the creature existed. And as far as I know, no one cashed in on that particular bounty. So, I guess we'll never know. But yeah, kind of going on from that, as I said, it kind of seems to continue on into modern day history. I haven't seen really any mentions of it after the 50s, but who are we to say that there's not people out there that are still getting some interest in the Tatzelwurm or reporting sightings. It's an interesting case all the same, and that's what these little short stories and short kind of cases are about. It's just kind of a little taster for you to go off and have a look at things yourself and let us know what you think. But personally, I'm not sure about the Tatzelwurm. There's potential there that maybe it is some sort of cryptid, or it could also just be some form of mountain cat for all we know. Especially, the fact the description is there that it literally has a cat's head. Granted, also a serpent's body, and it's a bit uncertain about the number of legs that it has. But I suppose with the illustration that I've seen and the one that I'll share online, it looks a lot like a cat. So maybe these, manly mountain men are a bit ashamed to admit that they got startled by a cat. So it's easier for them to say that the Tatzelwurm came out and hunted them and attacked them and they barely escaped with their life, And it also spits poison, just to add to how dangerous it is and how manly they are and how they managed to escape. But yeah, that's the story for today. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's a nice little short one. Just, let us know what you think. It's a cool little creature. And as I said, it's nice to kind of delve back into the world of cryptids. So I think this was a good way to get back into them. But let us know what you think. Have you heard of anything similar in your part of the world where you live? As I said, in Ireland, we obviously have the King of the Otters. Similar enough, actually, descriptions. Not sure about the poison, but you could make the argument that the descriptions there are close enough in certain areas. Maybe this is just an alpine version of the same creature. But I'd love to hear your thoughts and theories on this. You can reach out to us on Instagram at the spookyaf pod. Let us know what you think, or if you want to send us an email with your own stories that you'd like us to read out, you can get in touch with us at the spookyafpodcast@gmail.com. And we'll do our best to read out any sort of stories that you want, or to investigate any cases that you're also interested in. But with that, I hope you have a lovely weekend. You've enjoyed this nice little appetizer of spooky, and you take this into your week. And we look forward to seeing you in a longer episode next week. Stay spooky, everyone.